Well, this is showing that we're live, and I believe we are live. Nobody's watching, but that's okay. Eventually, everybody will see this. How's it going, guys? My name is Jared Fuller, aka the Jerry Bear. Today's date is Sunday, March 20th, 2022, which is the first official day of spring. Woohoo! I'm really excited about that. I hope you've all been doing well. I'm currently flying solo right now. My dad had to go and take care of some business at my cousin's house. Amy's in the bedroom. So I guess I've got the floor to myself this week unless dad comes walking through the door or if Amy decides to come out of the bedroom. Either way, for the time being, I've got the floor to myself. So let me try to adjust this a little. Whoop, don't want to hit myself in the face with my mic. I hope you've all been doing well. My week was, it was kind of rocky in some parts. But I'm here to say today that I'm doing better. I'm doing pretty good. And the rocky parts that I'm referring to would be um, we've had some death again. A family member had passed away, or not a family member, but someone who was close to the family had passed away. His name was Clayton Saville. He was always just a wonderful guy to be around, and he was always friendly, and he always, he had a joke to tell, and he was one of a kind, and we're definitely gonna miss him. Uh, so my love and condolences go out to Clay's family and his other close friends, and we'll try to get through this together as best we can and hope for better and brighter days. It's actually not bad right now. It's 55 degrees outside, or it's supposed to be up to 55 today. Um, and of course, for all of you wrestling aficionados out there, we lost Scott Hall. Scott Hall, also known as Razor Ramon in the WWF, had passed away last week at the age of 63. And I'm still sad about his passing because he was always one of my favorite wrestlers. Even as Razor Ramon, he was one of my favorites. And even when he was Scott Hall and he was one of the founding members of the NWO, for those of you who remember wrestling in the 90s, Scott Hall was he was one of those trailblazing wrestlers, and he really helped to revolutionize sports entertainment in terms of wrestling. And the NWO was one of those factions that had reshaped, and it was huge. If you remember wrestling back in the 90s like I do, the NWO, they were taking the world by storm, and it was Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall. Those were the three main guys. And last week I had this, I guess if you want to call it, an argument about who the third man was in the NWO. A friend of mine was arguing that it was six, and I kept telling him it's not six, it's Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan was the third man of the NWO. Just 1 second. Okay, that was my messenger. But Hulk Hogan was actually the third man of the NWO, and if you remember back in 1996 when the New World Order had joined, it was Hall and Nash. And then Hulk Hogan come out. This was at Bash at the Beach. It was a pay-per-view called Bash at the Beach with WCW. Hulk Hogan come out, and Macho Man Randy Savage was down on the floor, on the mat rather, and Hulk Hogan came in, did the leg drop on Macho Man Randy Savage, and that's how we found out who the third member of the NWO was. And then Mean Gene Okerlund had gone out there, interviewed, Hulk Hogan, and he just said a lot of things to the audience saying, you can tell these fans to stick it, this, that, and the other. And I remember seeing it, and I was like, yeah, Hulk Hogan's a bad guy. I mean, this is a guy who always told the kids in the 80s to, take their vitamins, say their prayers, all that stuff. And now this is a guy saying, fuck off. I'm not that guy anymore. This is who I am, like it or lump it. And the NWO, they were just amazing. And Scott Hall really helped to revolutionize and shape that organization and the wrestling faction. And then, of course, they would just keep recruiting members of the NWO until eventually WCW, in my opinion, WCW phased itself out because the roster from the WCW kept joining the NWO, and pretty soon there'd be no WCW wrestlers. It would all just be NWO. So I think that's where WCW had committed suicide, so to speak. But Scott Hall was one of those revolutionary, trailblazing wrestlers, and God, I was so sad when I heard he died. But the funny thing about this, I mean, death isn't funny, but what I find to be rather fascinating is how you have a guy who could he could take a beating. He was getting hit with chairs, lead pipes, baseball bats, coil chains. He was in ladder matches. He's been put through tables. He's had everything done to him, but the second he breaks his hip, then he's got to go in for surgery. And then as a result of that hip surgery, he has multiple heart attacks, which put him on life support. And then eventually he ended up dying. But I find that to be a bit peculiar because this was a guy who had a strong endurance for pain. And we can't forget when Stone Cold Steve Austin had chased down Scott Hall with a tire iron, and he was hitting him in the knee and everything. I remember that because Stone Cold had taken his truck out out onto the arena floor, and he was going for Scott Hall because Scott Hall, I think, if memory serves me correctly, Scott Hall ended up costing Stone Cold his championship match, if I remember correctly. But lots of good stuff. Scott Hall will definitely be missed. He is the quintessential bad guy of the wrestling world, and WWE fans and wrestlers, they are mourning his loss. And I've been watching on Facebook. Diamond Dallas Page had put together a nice video for Scott Hall. It was DDP, Scott Hall, and I think Jake the Snake Roberts. It was an awesome video. It was an awesome tribute. And, wrestling fans like myself, I am really mourning the loss of Scott Hall because he was truly one of the greats. And he will sorely be missed by all of us wrestling fans all over the world. And especially if you were, like me, a fan of the NWO, I'm just going to miss him. He was one of my favorite wrestlers. Scott Hall / Razor Ramon, no matter what you call him, he was the bad guy, and he's going to be missed terribly for years to come. But that's how we open this Sunday video update. Other than that, we lost Scott Hall, and of course, Clayton Saville had passed away. He was, as I said, he was one of the most funniest guys I've ever known in my life. He's always been nice to me, always treated me decent. He treated my dad decently. His death, by what I understand from one of his grandchildren, because I've known one of his granddaughters, might as well say my entire life. I guess by what she said, he passed away in his sleep. He was 85 years old. It was quick and, needless to say, unexpected, because they were definitely not expecting his death to come so soon. But 85 years is a good life, and my love and condolences go out to the Saville family. And I know that they're having a hard time right now. And I've been keeping in touch with my friend, which would be Clayton's granddaughter, one of his grandchildren. It's been a roller coaster for that family because they've lost other relatives. Mark Saville passed away not long ago, and Clayton, being Mark's uncle, was at Mark's services. And Bill Saville died, Junior Saville died. So I think the only one left now is Irvin. I think he's the only surviving Saville. And it's really sad. But my love and condolences go out to the Saville family in that regard. Dad had to go over to my cousin's house because he had to help load up some stuff for my cousin Samantha. You didn't see her, but you heard her on my Sunday video update about 2 or 3 weeks ago. and he's helping her right now load up some stuff, getting some stuff out of a shed, I think, and he's loading it in his truck and going to haul it for her. And she paid him gas money and all that stuff, so it's good there. Um, yeah, today is the first official day of spring, and I'm looking forward to the warm weather. Although in the coming week we are expecting rain, and it's going to, chill off a little bit. It's going to, drop down into the 40s, and it's going to rain. It's going to be soggy, and they're talking snow again, perhaps a little bit of snow mixed in with the rain. But by what I've been reading and by what I've been hearing, we're going to get mainly just the rain part of it. We're not going to see the snow as much as the rain, so I'll take it. I'm over the snow and the cold. I just want warm weather. Uh, I think we're all looking forward to that because we've seen enough. It's spring now, but it is Michigan. And just because the vernal equinox had occurred this morning at 11:33 a.m., it doesn't necessarily mean that the snow is done. This is Michigan, as I said, and there's always that feud between the seasons. Um, Winter tries so hard to stick around and to cling on for dear life, but eventually spring says, "Nope, you're out of here. It's time to start warming up." And that's what we're all waiting for. We just want the warm weather because it's been rather depressing, uh, just being so cold and snowy all the time. But yeah, spring officially arrived. The vernal equinox had occurred at 11:33 a.m. this morning. So now we're all looking forward to the warmer weather. I know I am. I can't wait for cookouts and going on road trips and hanging out with people who actually want me around. Um, you wouldn't believe it, but there are a lot of people who actually do want me around. They love the fact that I'm a part of their life, and they know they have somebody to talk to if they need somebody to talk to. Which it always, that's always a nice, warm, welcoming thing to know that someone actually turns to you for advice. They want to talk to you. They want to, keep in touch with you. And it's good to be an influential part of someone's life. They know that they have someone to turn to. And I have lots of people who turn to me and look up to me for a lot of things, especially pertaining to childhood cancer. Um, and speaking of childhood cancer, I had written to a young cancer survivor, and I received a letter from her last week. And I thought it was just the cutest thing, the most adorable thing ever. I loved it, and I'm keeping it in my journal as a keepsake. So, to the little lady, I'm not going to say her name, but she knows who she is. Thank you so much for the letter. I love it, and I'll keep it forever. I'll cherish that letter forever. Um, and her mom's pretty cool with it. She's like, "Oh, you made her day," and you put a smile on her face, you lifted her spirits. And for me, that's what it's all about. I'm not trying to, be Mr. Popularity. I just want for other people to know, especially the kids going through this stuff. I just want them to know that they've got someone who understands that. And it's been 30 plus years for me, being separated from my cancer battle, but it doesn't mean that it still didn't happen. It doesn't mean that I still didn't go through it. And I'll say it now as I've been saying it for the past couple of years or so. I think the one thing that really and truly pissed off a lot of the people in the childhood cancer community is the fact that me compared to them, I was actually more closer to the kids than their own parents were because I was one of those kids. And they hate the fact that I can say and do a lot of things. I can get my foot through the door a little bit closer than their parents can because I was one of those kids who fought cancer. And I think that's what really enrages people. Like they get jealous of the fact that, well, Jared, I don't like him, although, he can talk about cancer and what he's been through, but, he just doesn't belong. Well, sorry. Whether I like it or not, I do belong because I am a plus one in the demographic of adult childhood cancer survivors. And yes, I can talk openly and directly about these things. So, but it always warms my heart when, I could write a letter to a kid or I can record a little video and send it to them, and it brightens up their day. It gives them hope. Like, this guy went through this stuff. I can do it too. And that's what it is. That's all it is. It's just to show the kids that someone understands. And there are a lot of people out there who truly appreciate what I do for their kids. Um, Contrary to popular belief by people who just don't like me, but oh well, life goes on. Um, but yeah, so that was a big part of my week, and I like putting smiles on faces of kids and making them where they're not as afraid or not as scared, because they know they've got someone out here who understands. They got old Jer Bear right here. I understand what childhood cancer is, and I'll always understand it until the day I die. So, um, yeah, I'm always happy to show love and support to people who are really looking for that direct connection. It has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with clout or popularity. I'm not looking for popularity as a result of me surviving childhood cancer. I'm just trying to give back. That's my way of giving back. I've given back in varying different ways. And, the thing I like about a lot of the conversations I have with a lot of the cancer warriors and their families, the stuff that never gets put out there to the public, is the fact that I do have those, clandestine conversations with a lot of these families. And it's like we shared like a bond. And this is what we're talking about, and it's not going to get released. The details of our conversation will never see the light of day, ever. And to me, that's very special. And it's because I understand it personally, they understand it personally, and we have that bond, we have that connection. So, you know, people are going to say and do what they're going to say and do. And there's really nothing I can do other than I'm just going to keep living my life and showing people that, this is who I am and what I'm about. And I just don't always make my plans known anymore because, as I pointed out, I think it was last week or the week before, I have to be very, kind of, and I hate to say secretive or clandestine about it, but if I put my information out there, if I tell people what I'm going to do, I'm going here, going there, then you're going to get people who, because they're watching for reasons other than just being interested in what I have to say, they're going to report back to certain people and, oh, don't trust Jared and this, that, and the other. And they're going to try to paint a very bad image of me. And so what I do is I keep my plans private. I really don't put it out there. Although I like to talk about, you know, putting smiles on the faces of cancer warriors, young kids, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. I don't mind talking about things like that because to me it's very important. But as far as saying, well, I'm going here, I'm going there, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I not really so much anymore. Although, like if I say I'm going to Bronner's in Frankenmuth, or if I'm going to, somewhere in Saginaw, or if I'm going to visit with my relatives or even a friend that I've known for years, that's no big deal. Um, but even still, there are days when I don't know what I'm doing or if I'm able to do anything at all. As a matter of fact, there was a little get together over in Elsie that it was on Friday and I missed it. And I had planned on going, and then I got preoccupied doing other things, which is fine. Um, but I've still got the entire spring and summer to do whatever I want to do. And I'm sure there's going to be other, you know, plans or other events coming up that I can attend. And, whether it be childhood cancer or otherwise. And, I'm going to be there to show my support. And I'm going to reach out to as many people as I can. And, you know, you can't kill the spirit of a warrior. You just can't. Um, no matter how hard you try, and try as you may, but you're just not going to stop me from doing the things I want to do and having the communications with people that I have, because there's a lot of personal stuff going on and you can't take that from me. So, but I've talked about that. I think I've pretty much nailed that right into the ground. Today would have been Jerry Reed's 85th birthday. For those of you who don't know who Jerry Reed was, he was a country singer. He was also an actor. He was in the movie called Smokey and the Bandit. He was Cletus, and he had that dog, the Bloodhound, with him. And he was also in The Waterboy with Adam Sandler. So he would have been 85 today. The Alabama Wild Man is what they call him. He would have been, 85 today. And he had a lot of great country songs. He was another one of my favorite artists. He passed away in 2008. And he was only 71 at the time of his death. But, he would have been 85 today. So happy birthday, Wild Man. And thank you for the years of music you had gifted us with, because there's never going to be another Jerry Reed ever. There was only one. So I'm trying to think of what else happened this past week. I'm trying to figure. Oh, we were looking because my brother, he's looking for a place. He's in the process of looking for a place, and there was an empty house on the highway, and nobody was there. We didn't know that nobody left a number to contact them. We don't know who the property belongs to. We don't know if anybody was living, but it was empty. It was empty. It looked empty on the inside as well. No vehicles anywhere. So the property didn't have, it didn't show any signs of someone living there. It was empty. It was vacant, or it appeared vacant. And so Dad and I went to a neighboring house just to find out some information on the property. And the person who lived there had slammed the door in my dad's face. And that set me off, needless to say. And I lost my temper. And I opened my door, and my dad's pulling me like, come on, just never mind, forget it. Just get back in here. And I opened my door, and you motherfucker, and I said, fuck you. I put my middle finger up, and it was then that I realized that I'm turning into my brother. I'm turning into my brother, and that, I love your brother, but I'm not so sure if that's a good thing, because I know how outspoken I'm outspoken when need be. But don't be a dick. Don't slam the door in my dad's face. If he's being nice to you and just asking an honest question, don't be a prick. Just say, respectfully and calmly say, I don't really know a lot about the property. If I do, this is who you can call. But this guy was just a total prick. He was like, well, I don't know anything about it. And he slammed the door in my dad's face. And that didn't settle with me very well at all. I lost my cool. But I didn't get out of the vehicle because Dad kept pulling me in. I mean, you don't disrespect my dad. You don't treat him like he's, doing something wrong, when all he did was he was inquiring about a vacant lot, or, empty property, if the house was available for rent, or, what the situation was. You didn't have to be an asshole about it, but if you're an asshole to me or my dad, I'm going to be an asshole right back. But I can guarantee you that I'll be better at it. So that was kind of a high point. I'm not a violent person. Like I'm not someone who just, I'm going to whip the fuck out of somebody. That's not who I am. I'm nice to everybody until I'm treated not so nice, or until my dad was treated not so nicely, because my dad, I love him to death, but a lot of the time he walks away, which, I guess to some point it is good to just walk away, because it shows that you're the bigger person by walking away. But you still got someone who is, I'm just not in the mood for this. I don't have time for this. If you're going to be disrespectful, I'm going to call you out on this shit. And I was going to get out of the truck, but he would not let me. So and I guess I didn't exercise logic and critical thinking at that time. I had a lapse in judgment. We all do at times, but it doesn't define who I am. It pissed me off. I mean, you don't disrespect somebody who's being nice to you. It just doesn't fly in my book. Um, so I've been sitting here just mindlessly yapping away, and I've been here for almost a half an hour already. I can't believe it. Hello to the one person watching this. Um, I don't know if Amy's going to be coming out to join me here or what her plans are. She might even be watching me in the bedroom on her phone, or she might even be video chatting with her son. Um, she talks to her son a lot, which I think is great. Um, her son lives in northern Michigan, and he considers himself a Fuller. And I told him, I said, well, if you're going to call yourself a Fuller, if you're going to consider yourself a Fuller, I said, when you fuck something up, you got to do the Fuller thing and fuck it up entirely. Don't do it half-assed. Don't do it partially. Do it all the way, because that's how we do things. And he laughed. Dad thought it was funny. Amy thought it was funny. But yeah, I don't care. He thinks my dad is, or he looks up to my dad as his dad, which I don't mind. I mean, to me, it's not a big deal. I know who my dad is. I know where I came from. I know who I came from. And that's all that matters to me. If her son thinks, that my dad is his dad, or if he looks up to my dad as his dad, I don't have a problem with that. Why should I? I don't take any issue to it. I'm 35 years old. Um, you know, it's amazing how when I was a teenager, and I was kind of writing this on my Facebook. I was explaining this a little bit on Facebook. It's amazing to me how, like, the older you get, you have a different perspective and outlook on things, as opposed to like when you were in your teens and 20s, you looked at life through a different lens. But now that you're getting older and you're facing your own mortality, obviously, and you look at things differently. You don't look at things the same as, from your younger days. And I'm feeling it and I'm seeing it. And I'm going to be 36 in July. And yeah, I look at life through a very different lens now. Um, I don't take shit from anybody anymore. I'm out of fucks to give. I'm bankrupt on those. So getting older, I also had to set boundaries, and I had to put up barriers and walls to keep out the negativity. And I'm trying to live the most productive life and positive life that I can. And I had to make some changes. I had to really seriously do some soul searching, so to speak, soul searching, and evaluate my life and decide that I'm not going to put up with the same bullshit anymore that I used to put up with and tolerate. Now I'm putting my foot down. It's a new and improved Jer Bear. If you don't like it, tough shit. If you don't like it, then leave me alone. Don't fuck with me. Leave me alone. Uh, but and when you get older too, I mean, if you're my age or older, and you look back, you reflect on your younger days and your younger years, you really and truly understand what I'm talking about or where I'm coming from. Is that the older you get, the more you face your own mortality, and then you start to change your views and perspectives on a lot of different things. And yeah, I'm still an outspoken whatever, and that's not going to change. I don't know why I wasn't like this before, being fearless and just telling people where to go and where to stick their bullshit. Uh, but I really and truly had to make some changes in my life, and I'm happy with the results. I mean, I don't live a perfect life; nobody does, but I'm living the best life I can, and I'm doing exactly the best I can do every day, to the best of my ability, and to the best of whatever resources I have. I'm always happy to help people when I can, and just reach out and be someone who is supportive. But it doesn't mean I have to be, a slave to someone's nonsense. I'm not going to put up with it. But most people who know who I am generally, they know what I'm about. And, I have my good and bad days like anybody else. And, there are days when I just don't want to be bothered. Like I had taken a couple days off of Facebook just recently because I just don't want to be bothered. I just want to be left alone. I need time to myself so I can think and reflect and gather my thoughts and I can come back, you know, stronger and better than, I had been before. And, it does get heavy sometimes. Everything gets heavy after a while. And as I always tell my friends on Facebook and in real life, you know what? There's nothing wrong with collapsing because that gives you an opportunity to rebuild. There's nothing wrong with crying. There's nothing wrong with saying, I can't take it anymore. And there's nothing wrong with breaking down because now that it just gives you an opportunity to rebuild yourself, to be stronger. And not saying that you weren't wise or logical prior to that, but you can you can make yourself stronger and more not not ill will. Why would I say ill will? You can make yourself more strong-willed is what I meant to say. But you can come back stronger than you were prior to the breakdown. And it does get heavy. It really does get heavy. But even when like I'm from Chesaning. I'm from originally from this area. And I've also realized that the older you get, the more that these towns change. Owasso changed a lot. Chesaning has changed. Saginaw has even changed. Although Saginaw will always have that feel to it. Like different locations have different feels to them. Saginaw will always have that feel to it. Chesaning, on the other hand, Chesaning used to be known as Showboat City, and we really and truly lost a lot of what Chesaning used to be because of not just because of the ever changing economy, not because of modern technology, and it's not even because of what happened with the showboat. It's just the fact that uh, everything changes the older you get. Nothing stays the same forever. And that's another harsh reality that you have to accept the older you get. And that's something else, like when I'm getting older and I'm realizing how all these places that, you know, 10, 15, 20 years ago, these places were really booming. Even 30 years ago, these places were booming. They were shining beacons. And now when you pass through it, it's depressing. It's dismal. Like there's nothing here. Like, what the fuck am I doing sticking around here? There's nothing here anymore. Um, and it gets to a point where you don't, like home doesn't feel like home anymore. Like, where is home? I want to go home, but where's home? Because the home that I remember, um, everyone was still alive. And, you know, Chesaning, like I said, Chesaning used to be this booming community, this booming town. Everybody flocked to Chesaning. Like Chesaning was a happening place 30 years ago. And when the showboat went away, that killed it with the embezzlement thing going on. Um, Now we don't even have a showboat. So this generation of kids is never going to know what Chesaning was or what Chesaning used to be. And they're never going to know how it was for, like, say, their parents, because their parents are around my age group, and we remember Chesaning in an entirely different light. Like we remember Chesaning when everything was going on, and now it's just gotten quiet. It's gotten depressing. Uh, the people around town have, I don't know if it's frustration or anger, whatever you want to call it, but a lot of them have even become despondent. Uh, People aren't happy anymore. It's really sad. People aren't happy anymore. And there's jerks everywhere, but Chesaning in particular, I mean, there's a lot of snobby ass people, just a lot of snobby ass people. And they don't like it because I fight back. Uh, I don't put up with their shit, and they know it. Even if I am a kid from the wrong side of the tracks, I don't fuck around. And I think they're getting the memo really fast. Um, But again, people change, human beings are like, revolving doors. We're constantly changing all the time. And so that also comes with age, and it comes with, towns change, the communities change, people change, things change all the time, constantly. Um, and I guess it all comes to a point where you think to yourself, I can't accept this. This is really difficult to accept. The fact that things are not the way they used to be. And nothing stays the same. Nothing ever stays the same. And that's the only constant thing about reality is nothing stays the same. Everything changes at some point or another, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. You have to accept it. And I really miss the old Chesaning, though. I really miss how things used to be. Chesaning was just, it used to be this awesome place. We had the Showboat. We had, the Candle Walk was still a thing back then. This was before the Saginaw County Fair had come out to Chesaning. We had everything going on out here. And now we don't have that anymore. We don't have the Candle Walk or the Showboat. We still got the fair, the Saginaw County Fair, but other than that, I mean, there's nothing happening around Chesaning. We're not Showboat City anymore. Now we're just Chesaning. And that's really a shame. My furnace is kicking on. I think it's like 55 or 60 degrees out there right now. I don't know why the furnace would be kicking on. It's 56 degrees. So, I don't know why the furnace would be kicking on unless the temperature is set at a very low temperature. I don't know. But anyway, I don't know what my plans are for today after I wrap this up. I had thought about going out to Frankenmuth, but I'm not sure. Oh, speaking of Frankenmuth, I'm glad I mentioned Frankenmuth because Greta Van Fleet, they were in Saginaw last Sunday, and I don't think I mentioned that in last week's Sunday video update, but they were in Saginaw for a concert at the Dow Event Center last Sunday. And then they were scheduled to appear in Flint at the Dordt Financial Center, but what happened was a couple of the bandmates woke up sick. So they had to postpone the concert for Flint until mid-September. And they were also supposed to be in Ypsilanti and, what was the other place? There were like five, Ypsilanti and, remember. Because I know they were in Flint. They're supposed to be in Flint. They were in Saginaw, Kalamazoo, Ypsilanti. They were supposed to be in Ypsilanti, and they were in Grand Rapids. So I think the fifth place was Ypsilanti. That was going to be their last stop, and then they were going to move on. But two of the band members got sick. They woke up sick the morning of the concert that they were supposed to be in Flint that night. So they had to cancel that, and they had to postpone it until mid-September. I have not heard of any updates on how they're doing. I think that one of the band members, I think his name is Jake. I could look it up real quick. Nah, I forget it. But Greta Van Fleet, they're world renowned, and the world is getting to know who they are. Now, when they were in Saginaw last week at the Dow, there were people camped out in front of the Dow Event Center for days, and they were just, they had tents pitched, and they made a mess, an absolute colossal mess. They left their garbage everywhere, partially eating pizza in the boxes. I mean, they had the Dow Event Center, the parking lot of the Dow, looking like absolute crap. And as someone who pays taxes on the Dow, Dad and I, the taxes come in Dad's name, but I pay half of those taxes. As someone who pays for this, it disgusts me to know that people will leave that property, because the Dow Event Center is a really nice venue. And it upsets me to know that there are people who are just so lazy and irresponsible that they will make a mess. They'll leave it looking like shit instead of properly disposing of their garbage in the receptacles. Um, when I saw that on the news, I was sick to my stomach. But I hope the boys get better. I think their last names are pronounced Kiska. I'm probably butchering it, but they're from Frankenmuth. And I was actually thinking about going over to Frankenmuth today. I was going to drive over to Bronner's, but I don't know. I might just hang here at home, or I might go for a walk because it is nice outside. I don't know why the furnace kicked on, but it's like 56 or 57 degrees outside right now. It was supposed to be nice and warm today. And speaking of propane, we're still having issues with our propane company. We've been making several attempts to contact them, and they have done nothing in response to our phone calls. They're still trying to make us pay an outrageous bill, which we are not paying. And my brother says, well, why are you making a big deal about it? Why not just make the payments? Because it's not about the fucking payments. The point is, we're not paying for their mistake. They had delivered more than what we had ordered, and they're trying to stick us with the bill. And I think the reason why they have not made any attempts to contact us is because they realize they fucked up royally, and they're trying to stick us with their mistake, and we're not paying it. And I told Dad it might get ugly before it gets better. But we're not paying for something that we did not order. We're just not going to pay for it. And they are. I mean, this still remains unresolved. This hasn't been taken care of, and it's really frustrating when you're trying to make do, and you're trying to make it right, and then they try to deflect and make it sound like we're wanting free propane, which further pissed me off because I'm not expecting anything for free. We have always paid our bills on time, and we've always paid what we owed. But I am not going to pay for something I didn't ask for. So we haven't heard anything from them yet, and I have a feeling that this is going to be an ongoing saga with the propane company. The frustration levels through the roof. I just stopped being stressed about it. It's like, fuck it. I don't care. They're either going to come and take care of this or they're not. It's on them either way. They made the mistake, and I'm not paying for their mistake. Simple as that. But anyway, yeah, I was going to go to Frankenmuth. I don't know what I'm doing today. I might just stick around here and go for a walk and clear my head a little bit, or I might write some more in the journal. I've been doing a lot of writing in the journal this past week too. I get behind on a lot of things, and then I got to catch up real quick and write down what's been happening, what's going on. St. Patrick's Day was good. I hope you all had a great St. Patrick's Day. No one's in the chat. Chat's open. But it's subscribers only. You have to be subscribed to my channel before you can leave a comment, and you have to be subscribed for longer than 5 minutes. And as I like to point out, if you come into chat being a dingus, then I'll just ban you permanently, and I'll never see or hear from you again. But if you do come in, and if you're going to be nice and want to have a conversation, I encourage it. Come on in and say hello. I'm flying solo this week. I was hoping someone would have been out here to join me, but know how that goes. But that's okay. I'm doing fine by myself. I've been talking to my mother. She's I don't know. She says she's been depressed about some things lately, and I haven't been able to get up there to where she lives at to see her because I haven't really had the money. Although I could go up to see her today. I was going to go out to Frankenmuth, but she lives further away than Frankenmuth, in proximity to here, Frankenmuth is actually closer than where my mom lives, so I would have to save up a little more money than what I've got for gas because the gas prices are still over $4 a gallon here in Michigan. I know in other states they're 5, 6, almost $7 a gallon, which is absolutely fucking outrageous. But I guess by what I've been hearing, I don't know if this is true, but on the news, and I like to think that they tell the truth. But what I've been hearing on the news a lot lately is because of the situation in Russia and Ukraine. That's why our gas prices are so high. Um, I honestly, guys, I don't know. I don't even want to speculate on what is causing the high gas prices. Um, Although that could be, I don't know. I don't I can't confirm that. Um, I haven't written it in my journal. I said there's a war going on between Russia and Ukraine, which is causing the high gas prices, but or so I'm told. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, everything's gone up. Everything's gone up. But my blood pressure hasn't gone up, which is a good thing. I've been doing all right. I've been doing okay. You know, like I said, I have my good and bad days like anybody else. I'm still keeping in contact with friends and family, and it's all good. It's all good. I'm just taking one day at a time, and today might be lousy, but tomorrow might be better. I'm always optimistic in that regard, uh, because you could have the worst day. You could have the absolute worst day in the world, and tomorrow might redeem itself. It might be a better day than today. Who knows? But you have to always be optimistic. You have to remain optimistic about everything because life is short, man. Life is short. And you just have to hope for the best. And you have to always be prepared for the worst. But and on that note, uh, a lot of the time you can't predict when bad things are going to happen or how the things will happen. Um, I mean, I'm a member of the childhood cancer demographic. My parents certainly didn't see that one coming. And every other parent within that demographic also did not see it coming with their kids. And they were hit with a pretty hard blow. Um, and it always makes me sad when like I have friends on my Facebook who are bereaved parents, their children have passed away. And it always breaks my heart because I just want so bad. I wish there was something so badly, something I could say or do to uh, to make their difficult time better. And the reality is such that I can't do that. Um, I've never had to live the reality of losing a child, but I have lived the reality of childhood cancer, so I can definitely speak on that. But in terms of losing a child, I have never had to live that reality, and it breaks my heart to see my friends struggle so much with missing their children and you know, some of them have even contemplated suicide, and in that regard, I would have to reach out and I would talk to them and say, "Look, killing yourself is not gonna bring your babies back, and I'm sorry that you're having such a rough time, but, you know, we have to work through this. We have to live this reality. This is all we got." And saying that, I don't wanna make it sound as though I'm dismissing their feelings or saying, "Oh, well, shit happens, life goes on." That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that, killing yourself won't bring your babies back, and you just have to keep searching for tomorrow. And it's hard without your babies. It's hard without the kids. But there's always a reason to wake up every day and keep looking for tomorrow because eventually, I mean, yeah, eventually we're all going to die, but don't die tragically. Don't kill yourself because, of something horrific that happened. Um, I don't like to see that. I don't like to hear about people doing that because it's not the answer. And sometimes, and that's not to suggest that there is an answer. It's just saying that killing yourself is not going to bring your children back. That's not how that works. Um, and it really and truly breaks my heart to see parents go through that kind of thing. Bereaved parents. I don't like to see people hurt. That hurts me more than anything to know that my friends are hurting, they're grieving, and there's nothing I can do. Nothing. My hands are tied. And if trust me, if I had the power to bring back all those children who passed as a result of cancer or whatever, if I had the power to bring them back and to kill the cancer for them, if I had that kind of power, absolutely, in a heartbeat. Um, but that's it's out of my hands and it's out of their hands. But what's not out of our hands is we can keep searching for tomorrow, and we can do the best we can to live our lives. And the one thing that I always like to say to the bereaved parents is that, everything you do in life from that moment forward, whether you're helping another family, whether you're doing a kind gesture, everything you do, you're doing it because of your child who passed away. They're living through you and you're carrying on with how they would want you to live your life. And while it may be a temporary bandage for their pain, they accept it, uh, maybe not very enthusiastically, but they accept it and they say, "You know what? You're right. Maybe I should try to look at it this way." There is no real bandage that could ever ease the pain of losing a child or losing a close loved one. There's nothing that can make that better. And it breaks my heart to see people struggle and hurt and grieve because I love these people so much, and it kills me to have to see this, that there's nothing I can do. They're hurting, and there's no way I can fix it for them. I don't know. It just sucks. It really fucking stinks, and there's nothing I can do. But, you know, um, I just keep searching for tomorrow, and I'm always trying to do the right thing. I've always been someone. I'm always trying to do the right thing, whether it be for the child of cancer world or just as a general, everyday, typical person. I'm trying to do what is right and as best as humanly possible. And although I may not always live up to the standards of what other people expect, it doesn't take away from the fact that I'm still trying. I'm still trying. I'm still doing the best I can. And it's either going to be satisfactory to those people's standards or it won't be. Either way, that doesn't stop me from trying and continuing and trying to build honest and sturdy relationships and friendships with people. I'm always doing the best I can every single day. And yeah, you can listen to the content where I'm going off on somebody, giving vitriol to people in my daily rants. Um, it's because I would only hope or at least suspect that at some point these people who think so badly of me, they're gonna wake up doing things for no good reason for all this time. And we never had any reason to be against Jared for anything because he's never exhibited that to me, not personally. But why would I ever think for a minute that he would be that kind of a person? He has never shown that. And that's, this is the message that I've been trying to get out. That's why I always say show some evidence, to back up your claim. I'm always going to stick to that because I find it to be ironic that a parent who relies and depends on empirical evidence when it comes to their child's health, how are you going to then disregard evidence when it comes to a rumor or when someone makes a claim about something where they would be in a position to show some proof of what they're saying. Why does that not apply uh, to a rumor, but definitely applies to health? Well, I would argue that it applies in every aspect of life. When especially when we're trying to determine what's true and what's not. Um, that's always been my hang up. Um, but I can only hope that these people who are against me now, and I use air quotes because I don't even really think they're against me for anything. I haven't given them anything to be against me for. But one day, hopefully, they will wake up to the realization that they've been lied to, they've been manipulated by people, they've been conned into believing something that's not true, and I will always give them an ample opportunity to come back and say, Jared, we were mistaken about you. Would you please accept our apology? And being the guy I am, yeah, sure, why not? Let's start over. Let's start over. Let's have the conversations, because if we're talking, we're doing something about it. So let's have the conversations. Um, and then there are people who are just they got their noses stuck so far up in the fucking air that they won't even consider having a conversation. And instead of admitting that they were mistaken or they were wrong, it's easier just to deflect on the person who's allegedly public enemy number one. When the real enemy is like over there, and I haven't changed. I haven't changed. The only thing that's changed about me is I put my foot down and I started to fight back. I started to push back on people when they've been pushing me around this entire time. I'm done. I draw the line. So yeah, if I get a little, colorful with my language in a daily rant recording or here in a Sunday video update, then so fucking be it. I'm getting on with my life and I'm not putting up with bullshit any longer. However, I am always happy to reconcile. I'm always happy to leave that door ajar for people to come in and say, you know what, Jared, we were mistaken about you. And we feel horrible that we would even be convinced that you are what everybody says you are, or they're accusing you of doing things that nobody's been able to demonstrate that you've done. Would you please accept our apology? Or at best, would you be willing to have a civilized one-on-one adult conversation with me? And I would say, yes, let's talk, please. But most people, like I said, they are not willing to do that. It's easier to try to make me look like a bad guy instead of admitting that they were wrong so we can talk and sort everything out. But I don't waste time with that anymore. Um, it's the same alibi, it's the same rumor, it's the same this, it's the same that. Nothing changes with that. So I'm at the point now where I just say, I don't give a fuck. You can say whatever you want, you can believe whatever you want, but I'm still doing my thing. I have not wavered. I have not faltered from any of my positions that I've ever made. I'm still going to demand evidence for claims being made. And I'm always quick to forgive. I won't forget, but I'm always quick to forgive. And if you want to have a conversation, let's talk. I want to make this right. I want to patch up a, a miscommunication. That's all I want to do. I don't want to fight with people. But if they're going to throw the first punch, I'm going to fight back. Um, so we are at the top of the hour already. That hour goes by very quickly. My name is Jared Fuller, aka the Jared Bear. I am so glad that you could join me for another week of the Sunday video update. I'm doing wonderfully. Things have been going pretty good for me. Um, and again, before I wrap this up, I wanted to offer my love and condolences to the Saville family on their loss. They've lost Clayton and Bill and Junior and Mark. My love and condolences to the family. And of course, to the family and friends of Scott Hall, who was WWE. He was a retired wrestler, but a founding member of the New World Order. Um, what a loss. And, we're all going to miss him dearly. And to an actor named William Hurt, who also passed away last week. He was 71 years old. But That's all for now. My name is Jared Fuller, aka the Jer Bear. I will be back next week for another edition of the Sunday video update. So much love, peace out, take care, and I'll see you next week. And welcome to spring. Enjoy it, guys. See ya.